We jumped in his car and rode straight from the restaurant to Union, and went right to the lake where they were working to get a record position to pull the car out of the lake.
What was that night like?
It was surreal. I mean, it was very, Union's such a small, quiet, peaceful little community. It's having something of this magnitude happen there sort of amplified the impact of it, because it just wasn't a place you'd have that kind of thing happen. And so it was definitely an odd, like I said, surreal experience. I mean, everybody was quiet, standing out on the banks of the lake. You could see the divers out in the water. They had Greer's wrecker had pulled up and backed up in there, and they were running the cable out into the water to hook it to the car to get it pulled out. You know it before it came out of the water, but when the car came out of the water, seeing the children in the back of the car was horrifying. It was really, it was very, very moving, just tragic. We were in the middle of a trial ourselves, so we were really focused on that. And so we didn't really expect and have any real understanding of just how big a case this had become. As we drove into town, maybe a mile and a half out, I could hear this droning sound, light at first, but as we got closer to the courthouse, it got louder and louder and louder, this humming. And as we got to the courthouse, we pulled up and saw rows of television trucks, the media trucks, on both sides of the street going down, people running all over the place. And that's when it sort of like, oh my God, this is really something that's captivated the attention of the whole country. And it sort of gelled and became real at that point.
This is one of those cases that was kind of that first 24-hour news cycle that, really the nation was watching.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the story itself, tiny little southern town, woman gets is carjacked, her two children are taken away, we don't know where they are. The emotional appeals for help from her over the few days prior to her confession, it just sort of fed into the story, and it just got bigger and bigger, and then it culminated in her ultimately admitting there never was a carjacking and the kids never left Union. In fact, I drove them into the lake. It was just sort of this shocking conclusion that
kind of quickly unraveled, just as quickly as it came together.
Yeah, I think ultimately when she was confronted with the lies that were coming, that she was issuing one at a time, it sort of became impossible. It was untenable for her to continue her story after they were, calling her out on one after the other, and ultimately she realized that, it had to come to an end.